So what I'll get you to do is just like this will just be like a regular practice exercise where you take a bit of time to prepare, 40 seconds, and then whenever you're ready, Lewis, you can start us off. Yeah.
According to the Guinness World Record, the most eggs cracked within a minute is 32. This record is held by a man named Rose Geller and was established in 2011. Rose was required to break a total of 28 eggs in order to qualify as the official record holder. The passionate man defied all odds by cracking over 5,000 eggs.
All right, wonderful. So not a bad reading at all, right? Very good control, excellent pacing overall, right? So it was very steady throughout, and your volume was also very steady. So I think all the big boxes are checked there. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. The first one is I feel your microphone positioning might be a little bit too close to your mouth because I'm hearing a lot of the S's and D's like pop really hard. Okay. Now that's an easy fix. Just move it slightly away. Can I get you to just read the first sentence for me again? But this time, wherever your microphone is currently located, try to shift it slightly to the side of your mouth or slightly upwards so that it's not directly in the line of like an airstream.
I think the problem is here is that I'm not using a microphone. I'm just, using the, how to say that? I'm just using the computer. I'm not wearing a microphone or.
Right. If you're using a computer, then that might be a sign that you're probably spitting out a bit too much air when you're doing the consonants. Okay, in that case, we'll change our strategy a little bit. What I'll get you to do is try to read that first line for me again, but this time try to open your mouth wider.
Oh, okay.
So the idea is if you say, for example, Guinness World Records, but you don't open your mouth a lot, right, then the small gap here means that the same amount of air is kind of being blown out like that.
Oh, okay.
Right? Whereas if you say it like this, records, right, the larger mouth size means that the sound is getting kind of distributed a bit more evenly.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So just try that. They're big mouth shapes, essentially.
Okay. According to the Guinness World Records, the most eggs cracked within a minute is 32.
Yeah, slightly better. Now, for some of them, for example, the eggs, the GS, was still a little bit too strong. Okay, so you want to try to dial back the amount of air you push out. So you don't want to say like eggs like that. Just eggs. Right? Try to only let air out whenever you're saying vowel sounds, but not the consonants.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So things like GS, TS, those kinds of letter combinations are probably going to be something you want to watch out for. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the second.
Sometimes like something like X or some pronunciations like this. If I just pronounce it as what we're talking, like the way we're talking, but in this question, maybe the computer doesn't detect my pronunciation, and it's like.
It's true, right? So sometimes if you're going a bit quickly and a bit fast, the computer might accidentally skip over the S, and then it might deduct you a little bit. That's true, right? That happens.
Okay.
But at the same time, the opposite is also true, where if you're overemphasizing it, right, there's probably a bigger deduction, if anything, right?
Oh, okay.
One thing that I tell people quite a lot is that computers are good at dealing with certain speech issues. They're very bad at other things, right? When you say something like eggs like that and it is extremely strong, the computer might mistake that for like an extra syllable or something.
Okay.
Right. But putting that aside, right, it's unfortunately one of those things where computers are just extremely sensitive. Computer receivers and microphone receivers are very, very sensitive to air bursts. I'm not too sure why. That's just the way the technology is, right?
Okay.
So it's just one of those things you have to deal with, unfortunately. Yeah. What I recommend for you, you can at home, you can try this out, right? Turn on like a recording software and just record yourself do like one read aloud. Right. When you listen back to it, you kind of see what I mean, where these sounds are a little bit too dominant.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Actually, I did that for sometimes. Yeah, it's like, X or some, it's.
Yeah, usually the S's and your T's and D's aren't too bad, actually, mostly just S's, right? And now in this particular reading, it wasn't actually that bad. I'm just pointing it out because there are certain readings and certain pieces of speaking in the test where this is going to be a bigger problem. My mind goes straight to, for example, the describe image, right? In the describe image, imagine, one of those, for example, those line charts that have a lot of years on them, and you're like saying 2001, 2002. And so,
Yeah.
right? Those are the kinds of places where I feel like it might get a bit dangerous.
Yeah.
But anyway, putting that one aside, the other thing that I just wanted to quickly mention is you're doing very strong emphasis, which is always good, but the tone is perhaps a little bit too emphasized.
Okay.
So as in a bit exaggerated. So, normally we'd say something like, according to the Guinness World Records, right? Whereas your version is like, according to the Guinness World Records, the most eggs cracked, just a little bit over the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just dial that back a little bit. The words that you're emphasizing are correct, right? And like I said, the volume and the duration control seem excellent, right? So yeah, just dial the tone down a little and you should have the right balance.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. No worries. Thank you very much. Yes, James, thank you very much.
How are you, William?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
And let's begin. First discovered in 2007, faster radio bursts continue to defy explanation. This cosmic traps last thousands of seconds. The characteristics of the radio pulses suggest that they came from galaxies billions of light years away. However, new work points to a much closer origin, flaring stars within our own galaxy.
All right, fantastic. So, as usual, what we can do is comment a little bit on your performance, right?
Okay.
And I very much appreciate that you went straight for it, right? No hesitation at all.
Discovery.
Yeah, that's always fantastic when it comes to hesitation.
Yes, I just improve my fluency.
Yeah. So, I mean, now I've heard you speak before, so I have a bit of an advantage in this case to comment. Right. So the fluency, the speed that you were speaking at was definitely much better than the last couple of times. Right. So we've definitely got the speed now. What I'm finding I have a bit of a problem with is, even though your speech is definitely fast enough, I feel like the rhythm balance is a little bit off.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So what I mean by that is, a lot of the words you're saying very quickly, but actually some of the keywords you don't want to go so quick. You want to slow down a little bit on them.
Okay. Yes.
Right? So just as an example, one of the important word groups in this particular reading is this part, a much closer origin.
Right? A much closer origin.
Yeah, a much closer origin.
A much closer origin.
Yes, that's right. And when you get to that part of the sentence, you actually do want to slow down a little bit because it is a keyword and you want to emphasize.
Okay.
Right? So some parts of the speech are fast, like new work points to, that part you can say pretty quickly. Right?
Okay.
But this important keyword part, right, you want to slow down. So it might sound like this. However, new work points to a much closer origin.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So you want to control your speed a little bit. I think the overall pace is quite good. Maybe pause a little bit longer at the full stops, right? Yeah. And emphasize your keywords a little bit more.
Okay. Right? Thank you. I have keywords.
No worries. Now, the other thing is, I felt like because the pauses were perhaps a little bit on the short side, that's where your voice is getting a bit breathy.
Okay, yeah.
A little bit too much breath coming out at any time. So that's where you definitely want to try to kind of take a little bit of a fuller breath and just release it a little more slowly when you're speaking.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So all in all, when I talk about naturalness, what it means is just essentially calm down.